Okay, so welcome to, what is it, day 3, I think, of cohort 5. So something I wanted to talk to the class about was like was the idea of just kind of like being patient with yourself. And I kind of wrote it in the Slack channel as well. Like, I don't want y'all to think that like just because I give you these sections that you have to know it like completely through. Obviously, I expect y'all to go through each video and not only my microphone's like, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, but not only do I want y'all to go through the videos and try to understand it before y'all move on. I do want y'all to not move on until you understand the video, you know. But even if like you thought you understood it and you moved on and you do have questions, like don't feel bad about asking the question. Even if you got to ask a question about something that we went over like somewhere in the past, I want y'all to feel comfortable asking the question. And as always, how this class works is if a student asks a question, I'll open it up to the class to answer it. If someone in the class has the answer, then great. Even you can even like show an example of how it works or whatever, because that's how I want this to be. It's like a each one teach one sort of situation. But anyway, I don't want anyone to feel like y'all have to like hold in the question because of some expectation. My only expectation is that y'all work as hard as y'all can, y'all put in the time and come to class with questions, because if you do those things, y'all will inevitably be coding, and some of y'all already are on that path. I can tell by how much progress y'all making through the courses. But I wanted to point that out. Also, we will have a lot of time, plenty of time to practice everything that we're learning literally in the course. And let me share my screen when I show this part. Where is it? One moment, I'm about to share my screen. In the course, to copy path. In the course, we have a lot of projects here. We literally have 16 projects. Share screen. Share. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. We literally have 16 projects in here. If I open this up, and this is how it works, it's a portfolio. You put your your picture, your description, and there's a button open up projects here on the side. And these are the 16 projects that I was referring to. Each of these applications, and these are applications to help you, each of these applications help you understand a concept. In the beginning of the online course, I teach all the fundamentals. And then we start jumping into the projects where we start to really solidify our fundamentals. And that's the goal. Like the ease of completion of each of these projects becomes a little bit more difficult as we get to the next project. And I try to make it a little fun by introducing some games in here. I have a memory game, tic-tac-toe, whack-a-mole. I have like a fighting game where I show y'all how to animate sprites. You can see like they're like attacking each other, give it attack, defense, and speed. It calculates basically, how much damage it does to somebody and the chance of it, of them hitting the other person. So stuff like that. And we even have, a Pokedex where I teach y'all how to go online and get information. So if I put this into the Pokedex, it goes online, it fetches the Pokemon, and it shows their height, weight, attack, fire, their Pokemon number, their type, stuff like that. Like these, and each of these skills that we're going through in each of these projects are concepts that you're going to come across every day as a software engineer. So that's how significant these are, and how these will help you drill in the concepts that you've learned throughout the week. I'm gonna stop for questions. Okay. So any questions on anything that you've went over? And actually, let me share my screen one more time before I ask that. So I'm gonna share my screen, and where everyone is supposed to be is, so this onto JavaScript, this section right here, this section should be complete. This onto JavaScript section. Everyone should have went through all of the videos. And after that is the JavaScript tools. And this is where stuff really starts to get like interesting. JavaScript tools, I expect everyone to at least be like halfway through this. And if you've completed it, like perfect, like, I mean, that's perfect if you completed this section. This section is very long. It goes over a lot of concepts in JavaScript, a lot of the fundamentals, a lot of the stuff that we want to really solidify before we even get to we want to like try to solidify as much as possible, because I mean, when we get to the actual projects, which is like here, you know, week 3, the projects, you know, we'll start to solidify the concepts. But anyway, I expect everybody to be at least halfway through the JavaScript tools section. So from there, does anybody have any questions from anything that you've went over from those sections, the HTML section, CSS sections, the JavaScript, any of the 2 JavaScript sections? Any questions on any of that? Anything wasn't clear to you? I can further explain it, or we can have somebody in the class explain it. Okay, so everyone's good. Okay, all right, cool. So what we will be doing is something called Codewars, and that's a website that I want everybody to sign up for. Y'all can see my screen, right? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm on Codewars. Codewars is a website you use to practice everything that you learn in JavaScript. It's basically one of those websites that give you interview questions, and some of y'all might have heard of it, some of y'all may not have. But what I wanted to do in this class is strictly Codewars and answering any questions anybody has. We're basically going to go through all of the interview questions that we can go through in this class. I want y'all to do it. I want y'all to figure the answers out as a class. And even if y'all can't figure out a solution, I'm gonna show y'all how to. I'm not sure if I feel like they changed their platform up a little bit, but they used to show like how you can actually view the solution on the website. Let me actually go and try to join. I want to show y'all the process. So I'm going to join, right? And I am going to sign up with my company email. I'm not sure if I signed up with it already. Blakio.com. Username, Blakio. I think I already have the username in here. Let me just give this a password and list. Let's see, invalid. Blakio tech. Let's see if that is password. Let's see this list. Oh. Okay, so all right, so that's how you join. I thought they were gonna give me like a introduction question, but that's how you join. It's fine. So you press that join button and that's how you do it. What I want everybody to go to is once you sign up, and we'll sign up right shortly after. Actually, you don't have to sign up today. I'm gonna show you the question, and that y'all will have it to practice with. But I want you to go to practice whenever y'all are actually going on this website, and then go to sort by popularity. So most popular, because it gives you like the most practical like problems, and then the language you want to choose is JavaScript. Okay, so we got the most popular and we got JavaScript, and we can see that there's a bunch of interview problems here. So what I'm gonna do is click on the first one. Multiples of 3 and 5. So if I open this one up, I'm opening up in a new tab. I have it here where it basically gives me some like description of the problem here. So you say if we list all of the natural numbers between 10 that are multiples of 3 and 5, we get 3, 5, we get 3, 5, 6, and 9. The sum of these multiples is 23. So it looks like it wants you, let's see, so it looked like it wants you to input like a number. So it says finish the solution so that it returns the sum of the multiples of 3 and 5 below the number passed in. So I want you to pass in a number and sum up all of the multiples of 3 and 5. See, additionally, if the number is negative, return 0. For languages, let's see for that, okay. That's just a disclosure. But anyway, if it's negative, we want you to return 0. So you read the description, you say, okay, I see what they want me to do. I want to try it. And to try it, you press train here. You want to press next kata if like you don't like this question, but I'm gonna press train because I wanna try it. The same instructions here on the side, and then it wants you to actually write your code here in this box. And depending on like how you write this, like it'll tell you whether or not you got it correct. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually write this on my computer. And then once I get it working on my computer, I'm going to paste in the solution here, and then I'm going to press test so that it tests to see if my solution works. If I press test right now, what it's going to do is it's going to take this and it's going to run through scenarios. So what it did was it passed in the number 10 into this, and it expected to see the number 23. We saw that in the beginning where it says, okay, when you sum up 3, 5, 6, and 9, you get 23. So it passed in the number 10 into this number right here, and it expected to see 23. That's the sort of input here and output here. So when you test it, it runs it with like 1 or 2 tests, but when you press attempt, it can test it with like 100 different results, and it makes sure that, you know, it's to test edge cases and to make sure your solution actually works in every situation. Questions, comments on anything? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up on my computer. And like I said, I'm always going to use this terminal so that we get used to seeing all these commands. So I CD to my desktop. Let me see what's in the chat. Okay. So I CD to my desktop. I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to name this Codewars. Right. Now I got my Codewars folder on my computer. Where is it? Here. Codewars folder on my computer. Now I'm going to go into the Codewars folder. And I do a PWD, I can see that I'm inside of the Codewars folder on my desktop, right? So now I want to create my HTML file. I also want to create my JavaScript file. Something I did not show y'all is that y'all can create more than one file like this. You just got to add a space in between. So my JavaScript file is going to be app.js. That's all I need right now to get my JavaScript up and running. I don't need the CSS. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up inside of VS Code. There's a command code dot, and that should open up wherever you currently are, which is the Codewars folder inside of VS Code. And if it doesn't work, we'll get it configured for you. So code dot, I press that, it opens it up inside of VS Code. It's going to open up a new window. This is the older one. Let me actually close this really quick. Oh, here it is here. So we got the app.js and we have the HTML file. And if anybody had questions, please stop me, okay? Because I'm going to run through this problem. We're going to get the solution. Obviously, we start off with our boilerplate. And we also have to link the JavaScript file so that we can have access to it. So it's it's app.js. App.js. Let me actually put this in double quotes. app.js here. Okay, save that. I'm gonna go here and I'll just do a console log just so that I know that this is actually working and hooked up. And I'm gonna open this up in browser, copy path. Let me get a new window. Okay. And obviously to see the output, we got to open up the terminal and we see hey right here. So this works. Refresh that, it says hey, we're good, everything's hooked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here and I'm going to paste that inside of here. Now, remember how I told y'all that this is the older way writing a function and we're not using this way anymore. I'm going to turn this to an arrow function. So const name equals parameters, and then you put the arrow right there. That's how you turn into an arrow function. And obviously, since this has one parameter, we can get rid of these parentheses right there. Right. So so solution. We don't have to paste it in like this, but we're going to paste ours in with an arrow function. But anyway, something I wanted to show y'all, if I simply returned the number 23, right? Let's say I didn't do anything, right? And I paste that in. If I press test, obviously it's going to pass the test because it's expecting an output of 23. But when we press attempt, this is going to test it with more than just the input of 10. It's going to say, okay, I put in 200, I expected 9,168. Like, so this is an example of like this is an exaggerated example of how your solution doesn't work for the other cases. So they put in a bunch of numbers just to test to see if it actually works. See, so we're going to fix this. So my solution would be, and this is just me showing y'all this for right now because y'all going to solve the rest of them. So I would say multiples, let me see, how would I solve this? So we passed in 10, let's say this, if we did a, if we console log what the output is going to be, like console log solution, let's say output, it's going to be solution at some number, let's say, what was it, 10 was the first one. And I console log the output. Obviously, I'm going to get 10. I mean 23. Obviously, I'm going to get 23 because the function returns the number 23. Right. But let's actually make this work. So what I know is that I have two multiples. I have a 5 and I have 3, and I have to make sure that each of these are multiples of the I have to count basically each number in this number and make sure that 5 and 3 are in there. So I'm going to store those into variables. I'll just say multiple equals 3, right? Multiple 1 and multiple 2. This is me literally translating what I see in code to my text editor, equals 5, right? So multiple 1 and multiple 2. Okay, so we got those into variables. The next thing we want to do is we want to understand what's going on. So it's telling us, okay, if we put in 10, we want to literally go through every number from 0 to 10 and make sure that each of those are not multiples of 3 and 5. So when we iterate over, or when we go through the numbers between something and something, we generally create something called a loop, or like a for loop, or whatever kind of loop you want to create. There's different types, but a for loop is here. We want to start at 0 and let I equal 0. We want to go up to the number. So as long as I is less than or equal to the number, we want to keep increasing I. So we want to output every number that's put in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to console log I really quick, just to make sure we're actually doing the right thing here. I'm gonna comment this out for now so that we only see this console log. Refresh. Nothing happens because I didn't call the function. So let me call it. Refresh, we got 0 to 10. Right. If I put in 20 here, obviously, we're gonna have 0 to 20. So 0 all the way to 20. So that works. That part works. We're able to iterate over every single number from 0 to that number, no matter which number we put in. I'm gonna put 10 back in here. Now, while we're doing this, we also have to check to see if each of these numbers are multiples of either 3 or 5. Do anybody have an idea of how to check to see if something, to see if a number is a multiple of another number? I'm gonna give y'all like 2 minutes to just kind of like think this over. Right now it's 10:56. I'll give y'all to 10:58 to try to like think of a solution or look it up to see if so the goal is to see if one number is a multiple of another number.
Yeah, I think we can divide it and make sure the remainder is 0. And divide by that number.
Right. So yeah, you can. So you can say so you can say there's 2 ways you can do it. That's one way to do it, yes. There's another way that we're gonna use. So let me see, check 1 would be something like I divided by multiple 1. And I'm putting these into variables. I want y'all to notice how I'm doing this. I'm putting these into variables. I'm not just saying 1 divided by 3. You always want to put numbers or anything into variables. You want to make sure this that equals says 0. Wait, actually, no, this yeah. Actually, this won't work. This won't work. So let me see. The only way this is going to work is if we can tell if something is a whole number. So if 3 divided by, so if we do 7 divided by 3 is,
Sorry, by divide actually means modulus.
right,
That
exactly.
gives us the remainder.
Right, exactly. And that's a solution that we're going to use. So we want to do I mod number to see if this equals 0, because this gives us the remainder. So we can put that like that. So that's the check. That's the check for this one. And check 2 is to divide it by multiple, or do modulus multiple of 2. If we get 0, then that works. So we'll say if we put an if statement, if check 1 or check 2. And to make this more descriptive, I'll say if, let me see, divisible by 3. I hope I spelled that right. Or divisible by 5. That's what this is. And let's just actually give this a name of 3, and let's give this a name of 5, even though just trying to make this more descriptive. So 3 and 5. So if divisible by 3 and divisible by 5, or divisible by 5, I want y'all to see how readable this is. If one of those 2 things is correct, I want to just check something real quick. I want to just console log I, just to see which numbers we capture. And this is me like doing the problem little by little, and this is how we're supposed to code. So I refresh here. Hold on. Am I still? Yeah, I am. Let me get rid of that console log. So the numbers that we should see are 3, 5, 6, and 9. Let's see if we get those 4 numbers. Here we go. 3, 5, 6, 9, and we even have 10 here. Actually, wait. And why didn't they have 10 in this example? Below 10. Okay, so it has to be below 10. So we just got to take out this equal right here. So I'm gonna save that. And honestly, we don't even have to start at 0 because 0 plus anything is just that number. So we can start at 1 technically. So if I refresh here, we get all the numbers 3, 5, 6, and 9. So that works. Those checks work. So now that we're able to, output the number, now we got to have a variable to like sort of add to sort of accumulate all of these numbers so that we have the sum of these numbers. So what I can do is I can create a variable called sum. Started at 0. Notice I put the let constant. The let constant because I know that this number is going to change. The sum is going to start at 0. And every time one of these two conditions are made, we're going to add that to the sum. So we're going to add 3, we're going to add 5, then we're going to add 6, then we're going to add 9. So let me get rid of this constant log. This is going to go up every time. And then we'll just return the sum from this function. So if I literally put this back in, so I have the output 10, this sum should add up to 23 and then give us back 23 into this variable here. And this variable should be logged on line 16. We should get 23, and we got 23. Questions, comments, anything on this solution? Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste this over here. I'm gonna test it first, obviously, to see if the test works. If the test works, I'm gonna press attempt. And the attempts work. So it passed 111 tests. So our solution is fine for what we did. That's the first step. The first step is always to get the solution to work. That's always the first step. The second step is to make sure that your solution is as simplistic as possible. Is to make sure everything kind of like looks right. And just by me looking at this, it looks to me that it's as simple as possible. Obviously, we could break this down. I mean, we can like simplify this more, but you want to have like a balance between like simplistic, like how simplistic it is and how readable it is. You don't want to have code that's not readable. For example, if I copy this and put this in here instead, like that, and I copy this and put this in here instead, like this, those are the exact same thing. This solution is going to work. If I refresh here, we still get 23. But the problem with this is that we don't even know what's going on. So somebody that didn't know what this function did, or like what the goal was, they wouldn't know what we were trying to accomplish here. And this is what I mean by having a balance between how simplistic it is and how readable it is. If I go back to this, obviously we can see what's going on. Okay, we want to check if it's divisible by 3, and that's what this stands for. And we want to check if it's divisible by 5, and that's what this stands for. And then we're checking if divisible by 3 or divisible by 5. We want to add to the sum. Y'all see how simplistic this is and how readable it is. That is what we want to go for. Anytime we code, because this is going to separate you from like the rookies and the pros. Pros have their code readable, and people, you can pretty much read it like a book at that point. And obviously, it'll become more and more readable as you get more experience, just kind of like looking at the code as well. Questions, comments on anything?
I think what if some is a negative number? I think we didn't consider that. We didn't add it in.
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
If like
It's breaking up. I don't know if you can put your question in the chat. For me, I can't really hear you.
positive numbers, what if we didn't have a control structure there? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I say, what if user inputs a negative number?
Oh, right. Thank you. So yeah, negative numbers. let's say they put in -10, for example, right? If I save this and I go back here and refresh, it outputs 0. Why is it outputting 0? Because it's taking that negative. So first of all, sum is 0. Sum starts off at 0, right? And then we're going to iterate over this negative number. And what this is going to say is, okay, this starts off at I equals 1, right? This is the condition to let me see. This is the condition to keep going in that like let me actually put a debugger. I want to show you like how it looks, like step by step. I'm gonna refresh here and we hit this debugger, right? We passed in -10, right? So right here, I'm going, so all right, so you see how it just skipped over? So it says I, as long as I is less than or equal to the number, your number is -10. I starts off at 1. 1 is not less than -10. So we automatically skip over the for loop and go to the return, which is just 0, because we started off with the sum at just 0. That makes sense? We don't even go through this. Let me show you a contrasting case, just so we can, for comparison. Now I'm passing in +10, see? So press this. So we know that I is 1 right now. I is 1 and I is less than 10. It is. So there, now we're going to actually start to run through this, because I, which is 1, is less than 10, which is the condition, which is the only condition that we can even go inside of here. And now we start to, see if it's divisible by 3, false. If it's divisible by 5, that's false. Because it's false and it's false, it skips over this one. And it keeps doing it over and over again. Now I is 2. And it's just going to keep doing that over and over again until we get to the return, which is 23. Because by then it sums to 23. So any negative number they put in automatically skips over this loop and returns 0, which is the condition that it told us to do. It said if it's a negative number, it wants you to return 0. Okay. Any other questions, comments, anything?
I was wondering, how does a modulus or mod handle negative numbers on a normal day?
Oh, let's see. All right, so let me see. See 20. I don't know actually. Let me see -3. That's 2. So what is that saying? That's literally saying 20 divided by -3. Yeah, it gets kind of weird at this point. I'm not even sure what's even happening here, because this is supposed to only give us the remainder, but we can see that the remainder here is 0.67, which is, yeah. I never actually tried with a negative number, and to be honest, you're never ever going to use it like this.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sure there is a reason behind this. I'm sure there is. And to be honest, let me see, 20 divided by 3 is, the remainder here. Oh wait, yeah, the remainder is 2. Right, because 3 goes in 3 is 18.
18 remainder, yeah.
Right. It must treat it like a positive number. That's what it looks like anyway. Let me see. If I do -10, this should give us 0. If I do like 11, it should give us like 9 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it treats it like a regular. Yeah. All right. So now we figured it out.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Any other questions, comments, or anything? Okay. All right. So let me actually let me share my screen one more time. What time is it? It's 11. It's 11:10. Okay. So right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break. It's 11:10 already. We're gonna come back at 11:26, and then one of y'all, I'm gonna ask for a volunteer for one of y'all to share your screen, And I'm going to give y'all a problem to do. And yeah, I want y'all to do it as a class. Okay, so yeah, we'll be back at 11:26, and I'll actually go on break as well, and I'll come back closer to like 11:20 to answer any questions. Okay,
Okay.
all right, cool. I'll see you at 11:26. All right, so I'm back. Yeah, so we got like three minutes until we start. If anybody have questions, I'm here to answer any questions. All right, so it's 11:26. All right, cool. So before I have someone volunteer to share their screen, I'm gonna share mine really quick because it's something else I wanted to show y'all before we do that. All right, cool. So if y'all can see my screen, can y'all see my screen, by the way?
I can see it.
Yes.
All right, cool. So after y'all submit the answer here, one very important thing I want y'all to do is to see the so I'm gonna press submit right here at the bottom. So it's submitting the answer. And after the answer is submitted, it shows you all of the answers that everybody else did. Everybody else did these exact same ones. And these are rated by best practices versus like clever. What I would do, and these are voted, obviously. What I would do is I would go by what's best practice. I would say like 90% of the time, the best practice ones are the ones you want to like kind of follow. And this is actually exactly what we did, except for this is not as readable as what we did. We actually put these into variables. So you can kind of like sort of take what you can from some of these problems. I always want y'all to be more readable. And another thing to take into account is when looking at these solutions is that these solutions are written by people at a much more junior level. As you solve more and more of these problems, your level of difficulty can go up, and like you can choose your level of difficulty. And what I would do, I will YouTube Codewars just to get a better get more better familiar with the website. But you can choose your level of difficulty, and as your level of difficulty goes up, you start to see what like how the professionals are writing some of their code. But for the most part, I would say 90% of the time, I will go with like best practice. But this is something that somebody wrote. We scroll down, we can even see other solutions people wrote. We can see that somebody wrote a solution on one line, which is not the best example of what you're supposed to do. We can see that it's very clever. It has a 335 on clever, and this is voted, by the way. This one has 418. This is more clever, I would say, in my opinion, but like it's not readable at all. Like you wouldn't know how to even break this down. But yeah, this is a good way to see what other people are writing and how they're writing their code. And what I would do with y'all is I would go through here. Like if I was y'all, I would go through here and like try to understand some of these solutions. Obviously, you don't want to look at solutions that look kind of crazy like this. And even if you did, you can go ahead and try to look at it and try to figure out what they're doing. But it's a good way to read other people code and get ideas about how you want to start to code, like how your style is going to start to develop. So that's that. After you look at the solution, you can press next kata, and the kata is basically a play on like this is like karate and stuff. You can see that it's like a my one student described it before, but it's like a play on like different like fights or whatever, like a fight. So next kata for another one. Okay, we got this. Okay, we'll read it. Okay, cool. We want to train. We press train. And let's say that you don't want to, like you couldn't solve it. Let's say that you didn't know how to start and whatever. You can press here, unlock solution. And what I really want y'all to do is to unlock the solutions. So yes, show me the solution. It's gonna take some time to load. And then it shows you all of the solutions that everybody else wrote. A quick story I wanted to tell y'all, like I'm telling y'all to look at the solution. And just real quick, like I told other previous cohorts to do this exact same thing. And some of the students felt like they were like cheating. And like, it's not cheating. I want to be, let me come off camera for this one, because I want y'all to like see, like it's not cheating to look at someone else's solution. Okay, I want y'all to erase that from your mind. Forget like what school taught you about cheating and stuff like that. Erase let's throw all that stuff out the window, because most of the stuff these schools teach you is not the best thing. I can go on and on with that, but let's throw it out the window. This is not cheating. You're not cheating by looking at someone else's solution. What you're doing is you're starting to develop your own style of coding, and you're seeing what you're figuring out how to read someone else's code, and you're figuring out how to actually do the problem. Sometimes it's difficult to get started without the solution. And in my opinion, and I graduated with a engineering degree, and I have 2 engineering minors. The only reason I even got through that was because I looked at other people's solution. My teacher at the time told us the best way to learn is to look at someone else's solution. And that's completely true. Like I've seen that I went through calculus, I went through physics, I went through the level difficulty of classes I went through is significant. I'm telling you, looking at somebody's solution is the best way to learn. So look at the solutions. So let me share my screen again. Look at this. So yeah, these are solutions here. And even if you don't understand these solutions, what you want to do is you want to start looking up some of the stuff. Let's say we saw this, right? And we say, okay, what is filter? I don't even know what filter is. You can just copy it. And when you search online, you want to search on Google, obviously. You want to type in the language that you're trying to talk about. So always JavaScript first. JavaScript, what is filter? Because filter was in there. It said filter here. What is filter? Do a search. Okay, the filter method creates a new array filled with elements that pass and test provided by a function. And if you wanted to go into more detail, what I would do is I will always click on the W3 School link. And whenever you start to get more familiar with coding, I will go to Mozilla, the Mozilla site, because this gives you more of a definition. But for user friendly and like beginner friendly, I will always go to W3 School. So I'm gonna click on that JavaScript array filter, and then go through and like read about it, and like, try it out yourself on a website to really understand what's going on. Look through all these solutions, and then come back here and say, okay, all right, that's what filter does. All right, cool. Now I know what filter does. Now I have a better idea of what this problem is doing. And you may see type of, and like, okay, what is type of? Like, you go through the same thing. Okay, what is type of? Right? And we scroll down, we see W3 School here, type of. We click on that, we go through this page, we read about type of, and try it out yourself, and you go back here, and then you say, okay, I understand this a little bit more. And you keep doing this over and over again until you fully understand what this function is doing. And even if you don't understand what this does after you look at all those things online, what you successfully have done was figured out what filter did, and you figured out what type of did. And that's going to bring you a little bit closer to being able to solve these problems on your own. Does that make sense? Any questions, comments on anything that I just said? Okay. So obviously, if you couldn't figure it out, you press next kata. After you press next kata, you see this, you press train. Okay, cool. I press train. And then you go to unlock the solution. I can't unlock this solution for some reason. Let's see, attempt. Let's see, test. I press discussion. There was a discussion button down there as well. I'm not sure why the attempt, but why I couldn't unlock the solution, but I just pressed discussion and you can see people talking about it here. Maybe you can go through and like see what other people are saying about it. Like this whole thing is, let me stop sharing real quick. This whole thing is nothing but like a research thing. Like a lot of coding, you're gonna notice that like a lot of it is like even on a job, a lot of it is just researching what you're trying to do and you're trying to find a solution. You don't code most of the time. I showed y'all earlier all the way in the beginning how much I did for 3 days, and like and that's what's expected. Like we do a lot of research, we make sure we go through the app and we make sure our solution works and we write this little bit of code. The goal is actually to write as little as possible. You don't want to write a lot of code. The goal is to write as little as possible, and as long as your solution works. And if your solution works, then it's worth them paying you what is it, that it was like $1,000 for like 10 characters I had showed y'all earlier. And that's 3 days of work for me. But yeah, that's that. So any volunteers to share your screen, what I want you to do is first sign up. Actually, let me give y'all some time. I'm gonna give y'all 5 minutes to sign up for Codewars. I'm gonna put the website in the chat. And then I want someone to volunteer to share their screen so that we can go through this. And the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna look at the solution actually. And then I want y'all to do it. I want y'all as a class to research the different parts of the solution so that you can start to understand like how to do the problem. So I'll put it in the chat. I'll give y'all 5 minutes. It's 11:35. I'll give y'all to 11:40 to sign up. And then we'll have a volunteer share their screen.
As a beginner, Isaiah, which of these languages on Codewars would you choose outside of JavaScript?
I would only choose JavaScript for now. That's a good question though. There's a lot of languages on there. I will only do JavaScript. And the reason I will only do JavaScript is because like a lot of the languages are very first of all, you have to learn a whole new language. And some of the languages look very similar, but like the rules to the language are different. And I don't want anybody to be confused. It's always good to just practice one at a time.
Okay, I was gonna ask you if any of them were like in parentheses, in quotations, because I know not really like interchangeable in a way. Like if you know one, you basically have the gist of another.
Yeah, well, that's how it is with most of them though. Like if by learning JavaScript, you got the gist of pretty much every popular programming language. But having the gist of it is different than like actually know how to program in it. It's amazing how similar all these programming languages are, but how different they are also. Like I can't, for example, the only two that I've ever used was JavaScript and Python because they're very, very similar. But if I do Java, like I don't know how to code in Java, but I can read code in Java. It's almost like being able to understand someone speaking Spanish to you, but not being able to speak Spanish. And that's probably the best example of it. I can understand it, but I can't speak, I can't write it. So yeah, just JavaScript. For now, anyway. All right, cool. So it's 11:40. Do anybody want to volunteer to share the screen? And again, all you're doing is looking at a solution that's already there and trying to dissect the solution so that y'all understand what's going on. So. And if there's no volunteers, I'm gonna create a quick program to randomly select one of you. You want to go? Okay, cool. You're saying you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. You can share your screen. Then I can walk you through like where to go if you're not already there, and then we'll start dissecting the problem as a class. I'll let y'all solve it together. Okay, cool. So you're already there. Perfect. So did you already do the filter, like by popularity and by JavaScript?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, just pick the next one on there, even or odd. That's a good one to do. Yeah.
Can I go for this?
Yeah, you can click on that one. Yep. All right, cool. So it says create a function that takes an integer as an argument and returns even for even numbers and odd for odd numbers. So integers are whole numbers. So we can pass in any whole number. And if that number is even, if it's even, we want to return even. If it's odd, like 3, 5, 7, we want to return odd. That is the question. So you can go ahead and press train now. Train is at the top right hand corner, the button.
So
Train is a little bit lower than that. More over to the right, up.
okay, I can see it.
Yeah, yep, there we go. All right, perfect.
So as you said, I will copy my code on here.
Yeah, so what you want to do is what I want y'all to do is actually look at the solution. I don't want you to actually solve it right now.
Okay.
Even if you know how to solve it, it's fine. I want you to look at the solution. So at the bottom, it says unlock solutions. I want you to click that button. At the like more toward the bottom, right there. Yep. Yes, show me. It may give you like a certain amount that you can unlock, but as long as you're gonna, if it gets to the point where you can't unlock it, like let me know and I'll try to help y'all with that. All right, cool. So these are the solutions right here. I want y'all to look at these and try to explain them. Like try to figure out what they are. Y'all can start with the first one. The first one is actually pretty good. But yeah. Do anybody know what's going on in that first solution? Like
I think I can explain this.
Okay.
Actually, this is the input, which is the number, and we have a modulus. So if the number is we have 1 here. Actually, this place we have true and false here. This odd. If this give us 1, so that is true. We have an odd number. Or if it is false, that is if it is sorry, if it is 0, I mean, so we have an even number, and if it is 1, we have an odd number. I think this is a ternary, is it ternary operator,
Right.
right?
Yeah. So it's a term.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So in other words, like the ternary operator gives us back either the number 0 or any other number. Okay. The number 0 represents a false number. If we get 0 back, it's false. And I'm gonna explain that. So number modulus 2. So any number divided by 2, if it's any even number divided by 2, the remainder is 0 automatically. So 10 divided by 2 is 5 with the remainder 0. 20 divided by 2 is 10 with the remainder 0. So on and so forth. So modulus gives us back the remainder. So if a number is passed in and it's even, then that in its place is going to be 0. So let me actually share my screen, because I wanna like really like break this down. Let me share my screen. You may have to stop on yours. Continue. Okay. I want to break this down. I want y'all to understand this. It was given this number. What was it? Like number modulus 2 equals odd, and then it had even here. This is a ternary operator. They returned this from the function. Let's just say, I'm just gonna name the function A, whatever, like let's say number. I don't know the name of the function, but it was something like this. Put that here. The name of the function don't matter. But if we passed in, let's say the number 10, we would get even. That's because once we pass in the number 10, what happens is the number 10 gets placed here as the number, right? So this is what happens step by step. And after this happens, this part here starts to evaluate. So this turns into this 0, because 10 divided by 2 is 5, but the remainder of that is 0, and the remainder is what goes into its place. So I'm gonna put this next to each other like that. So since this is a ternary operator, since 0 is a falsy value. Falsy value means that 0 evaluates to false. It always evaluates to false. So what this is going to turn into is false. It's going to turn into false here. False, odd, and then even. And because this is false, the thing that gets returned back is even. If this is true, we return the first thing here. If this is false, we return the second thing right here, okay? So that's what happens if we pass in the number 10. Now, what if we pass in the number 9, which is odd? I'm gonna go through the same exercise. We pass in 9 here. 9 modulus 2. So 9 divided by 2 is 8 with the remainder of 1. So the remainder is 1 here, right? So 1 is a truthy value. So this evaluates to truthy. So we put true here. So since this is true, what gets output is odd. So the true value is this one. The false value is this one. So that's how we get odd. So these are 2 examples of how that works, that solution works. And I'm gonna put this in the Slack as well, so that y'all can have this for your reference. I'm put in the coding channel. Here we go. All right, cool. So let me stop sharing. All right, so you can share your screen again. And let's actually go through another one of those solutions that was on that page. Oh, any questions on any of that before I forgot to ask? Okay, all right, go ahead. You can share your screen again, and I want to go through another for the exact same problem, another solution. If you can like explain one of those.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah, you can explain that one. That one's good. Yeah, that one right there. Anybody know how that one goes? You're on mute, by the way. I don't know if you know.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So here we have if function. So we checks if number modulus 2. So if we have we 0 as the value, so it will return even, or else return odd.
Right, exactly. And that's actually a much more understandable one, I would say, because we can physically see that if if that condition is met inside of the if statement, we return even. But if it's not, obviously it goes into the else statement. And let me actually break that one down also. I'm gonna share my screen. Share screen. Because I think that's a good one too. And I think the name of this was even or I think that was it. So let me actually put this in a chat really quick before delete this one. Delete this. All right, that was a previous one. So I'm gonna go through and do another one. So that first one, the one that he just showed, it said if number modulus 2 equals 0, then we return even. Else we return odd. Okay, so this one does the exact same thing as the modulus one, except for it's written on more lines of code. Like this one was literally on one line here. See, just a one-liner. Is it true or is it false? But this one actually, it really does go and describe what's going on. Once we go into here, we do this if statement. So if this turns out to be true, so if in fact that this number mod 2 equals 0, so if I pass in 10 here, 10. Let me do this. So 10. 10 mod 2 evaluates to 0. So 10 mod 2 is 0 because the remainder is 0. 10 divided by 2 is 5 with the remainder of 0. So this is true. 0 does equal 0. So if that's true, we go in here and we return even. That's what that is. But if we have a false, if we have an odd number, so let's say we have 11. 11 divided by 2 is 5 with the remainder of 1. We know that one does not equal 0. So in that case, we go into the else statement and we return odd. And to take this a step further, let me paste this in the chat here, so you'll have that as a solution. Take it a step further, we can actually simplify this down a little bit more. We don't have to have this if and else statement here. Let me delete this because I don't want these red marks. We can just do this. We don't even need the else statement. We can just do this. This is the exact same thing. Because if it doesn't go into here, it automatically skips over that. And then it's going to return odd either way. Like this, that's the same thing as the other one. And actually I should put those side by side so y'all can see the comparison. This is the same thing. So this and this is the same. Let me just put 2, I'll put 1 here. And if I wanted to simplify this even more, this is me showing y'all different ways to write the exact same thing. I can do this, and since I only have one thing inside of this if statement, I don't even need these brackets here. I can just put it all on one line. So if this, I return that. And to simplify that even more, this is me showing y'all more advanced stuff, like stuff that y'all may see. I can just get rid of this if statement altogether. And I can say if this and, hold on, I can say return, what am I doing here? Hold on. Actually, no, that's it. That I was about to go back to the other solution. So these three things are the same. So the if else statement here, and then you can just chop off that else because you're automatically going to go through that anyway. If you don't go through the if, you're going to go through the else. So it's redundant to write these characters here. It's the exact same thing as this. So that's that. And since this is only one line inside of the if statement, we can drop it down to just one line to make it more simplistic. So these three things are the exact same thing. And let me put this in the chat so y'all can have this. Something I want y'all to like kind of think about is like this exercise here. It might seem like really like pointless. It's like why are we like returning even or odd? Like what does that have to do with programming? And whenever we get to the project section, you're going to really see what it has to do with programming. Basically, when you're creating an application, the application is based off of logic. Coding is nothing but logic. And you do one thing. If you do one thing, you get something out of it. If you do something else, you get something out of it. And we're going to learn how to tie in if statements and stuff like this to be able to create different things. Like I made a tic-tac-toe game. You can't win against this computer if you're not like doing some kind of trick. The computer automatically knows where you're going to go. It's like if I go here, it's going to block me right here. And this is all based off of like input and output. If I do this, what do I expect the computer to do? Or what is the best possible move for the computer to do? So if I press this, obviously I'm going to win because it can only block one. It can't block two of them. But if I go here, you know, I won the game, obviously, and my score increased. I won one. Wait, this is a little broken. No, actually, no, it's not. I won one. I didn't lose any. The other ones were draws. But if I do lose, let's say I lose on purpose, the computer's going to win here. And then once the computer wins, I have a loss now on my belt. But either way, everything you can think about is broken down into logic. And you can use these different combinations of using if statements, using these equal things here, and using all the other resources that we're going to learn in this course to create games, to create applications, to create pretty much anything you can think about. That's all this stuff is. It's just a bunch of logic, and we're practicing how to do that, how to write the logic right now. So when we actually get to those projects, we'll be able to see like how all of that stuff kind of comes into place, kind of comes together. If that makes sense. So I'm gonna stop for questions. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. All right. So it is 11:57, right? So on Tuesday, what I want the class to do, and I'm going to put this in the chat as well. On Tuesday, I want y'all to go through another one of these problems in the Tuesday class. Also, I expect, and also this is the time where I'm starting to give homework to everyone. Everyone has to complete the solution to 2 of these per week, and the number is going to increase over time. Well, actually just one for now, just one for this week. I want everybody to do one of these for this week, and I want y'all to send me the solution. Not only do I want you to send me the solution, I want y'all to write in comments in everything you write. For example, this solution I did earlier, I'm writing a comment. I'm saying, okay, checking to see if the number was divisible by 3. Checking to see if the number was divisible by 5. You know, checking either case. And I want y'all to comment almost every line of code, any line of code that makes sense to comment in. And if you don't really know which line, just there's no such thing as over communication here. So you're adding to the sum once we validate if it's divisible or something, right? Something like that. I want y'all to write comments in everything y'all see, okay? And then after you get the solution, I want you to send it to me. And obviously, I don't want y'all to go in and try to find a solution on your own. I want you to look at the solutions that's already there. And I want you to put comments there, and I want y'all to paste it into the Slack and DM me the solution. So this week, everybody has one question to turn in before Sunday. And if y'all don't turn in these questions, you will be dropped from the course. Like, the homework is mandatory. There's no skipping homework at all. Like, y'all have to turn these in. And the reason I make it mandatory is because I want y'all to actually practice what's going on. A common mistake that people make when they're trying to learn how to code is thinking that they have it without practicing. And I'm telling you, once we start practicing, y'all gonna be doing these things for fun. Like, y'all gonna really start to like, I've seen this happen. Like, it's gonna go from being homework to being like a fun activity, to like playing Sudoku or something like that, like some type of like newspaper game or whatever. And y'all gonna be answering these things like it's fun for you, basically. And the homework wouldn't even matter at that point. This is just me getting y'all going, just to get the momentum going. So one of those problems every week from now on, and like I said, the number for that is going to increase. It's maybe 2 next week, it may be 3 next week, but this is me getting you in that cycle. Any questions, comments, or anything that I just went over?
Nope.
Okay. All right, cool. So it's 12 o'clock. Y'all enjoy your Sunday afternoon, and I will see y'all on Sunday, but definitely try to come to the Tuesday class so y'all can practice that properly. All right.
All right. Have a good one, y'all.
See ya.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.